It's time for a change. I need to feel safe from myself. I think years of building a defense to win back my innocence from a time when love couldn't hurt. Thing is playing this game.
How did you land in Geneva? Just you were travelling?
Pretty much like that, yeah. I was travelling and I needed to make money and I needed to find somewhere to work. And I found work here, so that was pretty much it.
And were you singing at that point?
I had been at home, but when I came here, my intention when I left was to sing as much as I could. But once I got here, I started travelling a little bit and totally got swept up in that. I did no singing whatsoever. So then I got this job over here, not singing, working as a nanny just to make money and do the next 3 months travelling. Then went back to Australia and thought, no, I really should go back and give it another crack and actually try to do some gigs and go see some festivals. And, so then I went home just long enough to save money to come back, and then I've been here since then.
And how's Geneva, like, musically, why not Paris, why not New York? What?
Music, I mean, the reason I came back here really, I didn't sum it up and think which part of the world would I like to go to. It was more that I felt I hadn't given it a chance. Like, I'd lived here and I had a great time those first 7, 8 months that I was here. A really great time and travelled a lot and met some cool people, but I didn't even go to jazz bars. I didn't do anything. So I just thought I'd like to give it another try. America doesn't really appeal to me, well, it certainly didn't then. It does a little more now, but it didn't really then. I wanted to give Europe a bit of a go, and because I had some connections in Geneva from being here before, I thought, well, the family that I'd worked for previously said that if I went back, they'd help me out, and so it's.
And so now you're doing gigs at Geneva, the Festival de Bois.
Yeah, the Bois Fête is this week.
And lots of gigs, big gigs a lot.
Yeah.
Women's Day, Australia Day. So how did that all happen?
When I came back, I really worked hard to get out there and meet people and get a band together, and went to all the jam sessions and tried to just see as many gigs as I could, just so I could start getting familiar with the scene as much as anything. And I was just lucky that the people I met, I got along so well with the band that I'm with now. And we did one gig. It was another one of those stories where you think if this hadn't led to that, but I got up, just sat in on a gig somewhere. When it was at a restaurant, there was a jazz band playing. I just said, could I sing a song? They said sure. So I got up and sang something, and then
what did you sing?
What did I sing? I don't know, it was probably Summertime or something like that. Autumn Leaves, something like that, I don't know. But then the manager of the bar said to the band, I want her to come back and sing. So then the bass player called me and we got a band together, and that was the first gig I've got, and it's still that band I'm working with now. So
okay, and who are they?
It's Pascal Alba is the bass player,
and
Jean Ferrerini on piano, and Bruno Debal on drums.
Okay.
Sometimes with a guitarist as well, and like on the album I've got a guitarist too, which is Francois Alba, bass player's brother. So it's cool. There was a few steps between that first gig and now. Like that first gig was 2 years ago.
Okay, so then it was doing other gigs around Geneva.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to because I'd started writing some of this stuff, but I'd always written with other people before. I hadn't totally relied on myself to say, okay, it's my song, my chords, and this is the way I want to do it. I'd always had someone else to sort of collaborate with. So it took a while for me to get the confidence enough to just say, okay, here's my song and I want you to play it. So that was kind of what I was really working towards, trying to get that together, and I slowly started to take my songs into the band and tried to not, so I was arranging a lot of my own, like my arrangements of standards, but it's another step to then take your own stuff and give it, say, okay, let's just give it a go. So then I started with that and wrote a lot more of my own stuff and started to choose which ones I wanted. So I knew I wanted to make a CD, but I wasn't really too sure of the process or what way to go about it, or I wanted the opinion of the band on some stuff, but just to try and get the right feel and the right people, whatever.
And do you have it?
I do.
Good. And at home at Christian Life, which is quite funny because I recently interviewed a cat, and his album's called Finding Home.
Oh yeah? Yeah, it's a common theme, I think. So I found it all so confusing leaving, and it's like the more comfortable I'd feel here, the more uncomfortable I'd feel about not being there. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're so happy that you're settling in. I'm happy that I'm speaking French. I'm happy that I've got great friends and a job I like. And everything here's cool. It's not like there are things I don't like. It just makes me think, okay, but if this becomes home, what does that mean for the other home? You know, what does that mean for Australia, where really I've still got my family and my sisters, most importantly, and you know, to think that I might end up here because my life is here, but that it wouldn't be with them is just, I can't come to terms with that at all. So the whole thing was just constantly arguing, you know, I don't want to not fit in here, but I don't want to fit in too much either, because when I go home I don't fit in. So,
would you have done the opposite if you were at home?
I wanted to, even before I left I wanted to, but I'm sure I wouldn't have written the same kind of things. Like I felt moving away from me was a really big deal. Like I think I changed quite a lot. I mean, in some ways I haven't changed at all, but in other ways, like just especially in the way I'm singing and the way that I'm writing music, it's much different than when I was in Australia.
How has it changed the way that you sing?
It's much more, it's much less restricted, I suppose, constricted maybe. Someone said to me when I went home just recently and sang a gig, someone said to me, wow, you finally took that pole out of your ass. That's pretty much it actually. Like I came over and took the straight jacket off and just thought, okay, well, rather than trying to constantly sum up what should I be singing, how should I sound, how should I look, what should I say, just thinking, okay, here's a song, what do I want to sing? If it's bad, or you know, it's not the end of the world, and if it's not the exact right notes at the exact right time, no one cares. You know, if you're singing perfectly but you've got no feeling whatsoever, no one wants to hear it. But if I'm making a few mistakes but having fun, or singing a few strange things but really putting myself into it and putting my own feelings into it, I think it's a lot more interesting. It's got to be more interesting.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about a couple of the songs on the album?
Going back. It's going back. Why don't I just sing you a little chorus of it? Okay, in the middle of the cafe. Okay. I'm going back home to the place I was born. I'm going back home and I hope I still belong. I'll be on a plane for a couple of days. No, I am sorry, I don't want to know your name. I just want to sit here and not complete the days. It's part of the deal when you move so far away.
See, I have two homes now, both of them are great. See, I have two homes now and two sets of mates. I think it is hard to ever adjust. You always miss someone and I'm feeling too much. I know my life's easy and I don't wish to complain, so I'll just sit here and wait on this plane until I'm